What's up, y'all? Sparty here. For this video, I guess what I want to talk about is I want to talk about the term gimmick, right? Um, this is something that I feel is very important because it shows the hypocrisy of what tech reviewing has become. It's totally fine to have two telephoto lenses on the phone that you can't even use in the pro mode, that you can't even use, that you can't do anything with us outside of like basic photos and 4K video in auto mode. Um that just are used for one purpose and one purpose only. People may never use those features, but god damn it, they put two telephoto lenses on the phone. Let's talk about the fact that a phone gives you a 108 megapixel sensor, but it only gives you 12 megapixel output in pro mode, whether it be the regular basic, the photo that you took, or the raw. So you don't get 108 megapixels in that at all. And yes, while you do get more details in 108 megapixel mode, it's not like, to me, that's what I feel the photo should look like, period. And who's going to use the 108 megapixel mode when they could just use the standard 12 megapixel mode and get decent pictures out of that? Let's talk about the gimmick that's 120 hertz. 120 hertz is the ultimate gimmick because it takes away battery life, essentially just so you get smoother Instagram, Facebook, and app drawer scrolling. And very few, very limited games support it. Games like Dead Cells support it, which is very nice, and I really do love that. There are a lot of games that don't even push past 30. And when you do have those games that can push past 120 or that can't push to 120, oh, guess what? It's only on this phone because of a partnership. Even though they show that goddamn game in the launch event of the ROG Phone 5. But guess what? The ROG Phone 5 can only play that game at 60 frames per second. This is something that's very important to me, mainly because that one of the few reasons that LG got pushed out of the market is because every time they tried something new, they would get backlash for it. Even if those things stuck, like Quad HD, you know, or curved phones, curved screen phones, things like that. They would get pushed back no matter what. But the moment Samsung does it, oh, it's slightly less bad. The moment Apple does it, oh, it's viable now. Ultra wide angle was a gimmick on the V20, the V30, the V10 on the front. But the moment Apple decides to do it, oh, it's viable now. They care about 4K stabilized video on the iPhone. G8 has it before the iPhone. Nobody talks about it. Oh, but the G8 has the air gestures. Yeah, but the G8 also had a very secure face unlock on Android, especially compared to its competition at the time, right? And especially compared to phones now, Android phones now, which basically gave up on it. But you didn't care about that because of air gestures. Same with the Pixel 4 and 4 XL. Oh, but it has they put a big bezel on the front of the phone because you guys complained about the notch on the Pixel 3 XL. They give you better face unlock, but you complain about air gestures because that's a gimmick. Wouldn't stylus support on the S21 Ultra be a gimmick because you don't have a silo in the phone to hold it? But no, they give it to the Ultra, and the S Pen support is actually quite nice. We don't care that but when the V60 has it, guess what? It doesn't matter. We just can't figure out how you would use a dual screen phone, what exactly you would do with it. But at least it's optional on the V60 while it's not on the Surface Duo. (18:9), that's a gimmick. I don't know why LG would even do that. Samsung does it. It just looks very nice. But the pillar boxing, though, and all this stupid shit. But then Apple does it, people stop caring. Like, it's very discouraging, man. No matter what, it feels like no other phone maker could win. It always has to be Samsung. It always has to be Apple. Despite the fact that this S21 Ultra is heating up in my hand as we speak. HTC died. You missed Boombox. You missed Boom Sound. You missed that hi-fi DAC that was in the phone, right? LG brings you that V10 through V10, V20, V30. What do you say about the quad DAC? It's just an audio filter. No, that's Boom Sound, dog. It's like tech reviewers are becoming more and more uneducated about the thing they claim to be about. They give you less information about the phone. They just read off a damn spec list, and then they say what is a gimmick, what's not a gimmick, and then they give you cute little B-roll. Poorly exposed photos and tell you that a phone camera is bad because it doesn't light the scene the same way an iPhone or a Samsung does. Then when they comment on the Pixel, they say, it just doesn't have a 108 megapixel sensor. It just can't compete. But then they go straight to the iPhone 12 Pro and 12 Pro Max and say, but the Pixel just can't compete with this either. It's just an outdated sensor. But then you don't say that same thing for the iPhone that's been using the same goddamn sensor, aside from the 12 Pro Max, which has a larger sensor closer to, like, say, an S20, S20 FE. If you get mad about me saying that things like 120 hertz is a gimmick, keep in mind that a 5,000 milliamp hour battery phone like the S21 Ultra can't hang with an LG V60 because of its 120 hertz display. And because Samsung is genuinely bad at battery tech, but we'll not get into that. When all it does is give you smoother scrolling, who the fuck cares? Like, my Instagram feed goes smoother. That's not that's not a feature. Like, the only reason you're not saying that it's not a gimmick is because you have to use it every goddamn day. You didn't have to use the air gestures on the V60, the G8. You didn't have to use the modularity on the G5. You didn't have to, like, I mean, to be fair, on the G5, they only put out like 2-3 modules anyway. But you don't have to use the dual screen case. Oh, but that's why it's a gimmick, though. What? So being forced to use it makes it not a gimmick and makes it useful? I'm gonna say this in my terrible New York accent. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. Have a good one, you guys.